This is what I was looking for. The old CCC cabin. I just got dropped off at Red Lake Wildlife Management Area, located way up in northern Minnesota, just south of the Canadian border. This is Minnesota's largest wildlife management area, coming in at over 300,000 acres. What we're planning on doing over the next 2 days is hiking over 20 miles from the Wildwood Cemetery where we are down to where I have my truck parked at Gates Corner. This wildlife management area has a lot of different habitat types, and we'll be trudging through black spruce forests, aspen uplands, and expansive sedge meadows. This area also has a ton of human history. And lastly, this trip is going to be a wild game challenge. So for lunch, dinner today, and lunch tomorrow, I am relying on rough grouse or spruce grouse, perhaps even a sharp-tailed grouse to go along with instant mashed potatoes or rice. So Pete and I are going to be putting our skills to the test. I'm confident we're going to encounter a number of grouse on this trip. Super remote area. Guaranteed no one has been back here, so we shouldn't have a problem with that. But if we do, it'll be just mashed potatoes or rice. All right, let's get going. All right, so just at the beginning of the hike here, we are going to be taking a hunter walking trail system for the first bit. We're located right up here now. This trail is going to loop around, and then this is where the trail that's maintained ends, and you can see no motorized vehicles. But once the trail ends there, that's where the real bushwhacking begins. So it's actually pretty nice. Well, it rained yesterday, so the woods are pretty darn wet right now. So being able to follow this path is going to be nice for the morning. The winds are going to start picking up in a little bit. And then once we do have to really get into the bushwhacking, that's where hopefully it's dry and we don't get super soaked. All right, well, we have officially made it to the point where the trail is no longer maintained. We've been going for almost 2 hours now, so it'll be interesting to see what we get into as we start to get more out into the sedge meadows and closer to Lost Lake. But thankfully, we got a little water source here. There is definitely a bird here. He has not stopped since we got here a couple minutes ago looking for a bird. So I'll look up in these spruce really good as we take a break and get the water bottle filled up. But this is perfect. Pete's got a good spot to get a good drink, because I'm guessing it's going to be wet as we continue. Probably switch over to the rubber boots at some point. But if not, at least he has this, and then Lost Lake will be the next, for sure, water source for the both of us. But we're going to take a little 2-hour break and check these trees out, because there could be a spruce grouse staring at us right now. Well, the trail is getting wetter and wetter. There's a little path the entire way, and it looks like a a moose has walked through here not so long ago. So maybe we'll get lucky and encounter a moose way back here. But it's time to switch over to the rubber boots. And unfortunately, we have not encountered any grouse yet. And we are likely not going to for quite a while. I got a long way to go. It's going to get more and more open as I continue to head south here towards Lost Lake. And then we're going to have to do some serious bushwhacking through some black spruce. Probably country like this. That's going to be super, super slow going. And then we'll eventually get back into better grouse habitat. So we're gonna swap out here, put the rubber boots on, and keep on pushing forward. So far, so good. Pete, I think it went further back. Oh, jeez! Oh, I saw it at the last second. Did I hit it? Well, that's about the craziest thing. I hit that bird the first time on video. And I heard him flush it again. And we just made a loop through here. This is where I thought it was in a tree. So I think what happened is he flushed it up into this tree. And then I was just coming back from over here and I heard it fluttering. And look at this. We got ourselves the grouse. On the board, we got dinner for tonight. Things are really starting to change. It's getting wetter. And pretty much dominated by tamarack out here with a random little cedar or black spruce. The bigger forest is back there, and very shortly I'm gonna break into the big open, just hoping that it's not too wet to pass through. But things are definitely slowing down because with every step you take, you drop about an inch or 2 inches. But we're getting close to Lost Lake. Well, Pete and I have officially made it to Mulligan Lake Peatland Scientific and Natural Area. This is a huge expansive area up here that's dominated by grasses and sedges. And there's a fair amount of native broadleaf cattails out here. So these areas are basically characterized by having the groundwater at or near the surface. So there's the old sign that would have said Lost Lake. And Pete and I are gonna hike back there. I can see the water right over there. And that is the headwaters of the Roseau River. Probably tough to see, but it's just wild out here. So this is where a moose has walked through. You can see we're kind of sunk in right there. And then the cattail snapped and matted down. But it's unbelievable. Whoa, geez, this went down a little bit. I've cut probably 5 or 6 individual moose trails coming across out here, and it's wild. You think you're all alone way out in this crazy habitat, but there's wildlife around. Pretty cool. And there it is, Lost Lake. So I was able to pick up this little game trail on Google Earth. It just kind of meanders through these couple little tamarack and black spruce islands that we have out here. And to be honest, I wasn't sure how this was ultimately going to go out here. I just brought the knee boots hoping that was going to be sufficient, and it certainly is. Up to this point I was nervous, you know, to get out here, and then you're sinking in and it's going over the boots, and at that point I definitely would have turned around and headed back towards where I got dropped off this morning and then messaged to get picked up. I wouldn't have been able to get out today. I put over 8 miles on so far, but what I have here is this trail is going to just again skirt these little islands all the way across, and then there's a great big stand of tamarack in the background. That's where I'm going to be bushwhacking through. That's going to be the toughest part of the day, no doubt about it. There's no trails or anything that I can decipher, so it's going to be slow and steady getting through that. This is by far, well, I don't know if by far, but one of the toughest hikes I've had before. So what we have here is a bunch of dead tamarack, and you can't walk too close to the woods edge because there's just down stuff everywhere. It's a nightmare. And you know, cautious about peat getting a stick in the eye. If you go out here 50 yards, it's sedge and it's nicer hiking, but twice now the water has come over my boots where I've hit a little hole. So that water table is right at the surface of the vegetation and it's nasty. So the only route I really have is bulldozing through this cattail, and it's just kind of the happy medium where you don't have to fight with the downfall and then you don't have to flood in the water. Okay, 4:45 now. I would really like to be where I'm going to set up within an hour and 15 minutes. That sun is slowly starting to go down. So I left hell back there about 80 yards ago, but it is nicer hiking in here. It is more meandering. Pete is happy again. He can bounce around and try to find birds. If all goes well, there's going to be a little treasure waiting down here for us. So stay tuned. This could be a good one. Where's that bird? That thing did the road runner. We just flushed one. right behind it. We got 2 birds for tonight. Good job, Pete. Good boy. Hey, Pete. Excellent. Nice adult bird. Gray phase. Oh, we just had those grouse encounters. And there's a little trail coming back here. This is what I was looking for. The old CCC cabin. So this was built back in the 1930s. And this area for the lower United States was the last stronghold of woodland caribou. So there was actually no hunting, no trapping out here until like 1952. I mean, wild. So the wardens would stay out in these cabins. I think there's 3 remaining out here. It's even got its state tag on it. Kind of rough. Little saw there. For people that are out snowmobiling, if you get stranded, this is a spot that you can come and survive the night. There's a lot. I thought about if I found it, if I was going to stay in here, but I don't think so. I actually just passed a nice cedar area overlooking a little meadow, so I think I'm going to stay there tonight. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I'd have to, if I got here earlier, I probably would have stayed out here, cleaned it up, but we'll set up a tarp shelter tonight. That'll work out well. Cool. Looks pretty good overall. No water getting in here. Just a bunch of mice. What do you think, Pete? Well, unfortunately, there wasn't a good spot by the cedar, but walking along, we found this area that'll work out for the tarp setup tonight. So it's going to be dark in a hurry out here. I'm going to get this thing set up, and then I know Pete's ready to probably get cozied in. I got the tarp set up. When it's all said and done, this will all tuck down, so it's just like a tent outside anyway. We got the 2 grouse. I'll clean those up, and we're going to have that with some mashed potatoes. And what I did is I topped off my Nalgene and then my 3-liter bag when we were down by the river, and I'm very happy we did, because water is limiting up in these uplands right now. I got pretty much everything set up. I just got to do a little bit more organization within the tent. All right, time to feast. We're hitting the sheets after this. We'll see you in the morning. All right, Sunday morning has arrived. Pete and I are gonna have our breakfast here and pack up camp and hit the trail. It's 7 o'clock right now. Pete Smoke. It's 7 o'clock right now, and it'll start getting light here in a half hour, so light enough to start hiking. And we got another marathon of a hike today, so we need to get going at first light. All right, let's do this. Okay, it's 8:15 and Pete is ready to go. I just did a rough trace of where I am going today, and just drawing a bunch of straight lines. It's 10.91 miles. So we're getting a good early start, and the goal is to be back to the truck by dark, but it's gonna be a solid one, so we got to get going. First fresh moose sign, or poop anyway, of the trip. I'm just breaking through this thick regeneration, and then if you can see, there's some bigger aspen on the horizon. We're gonna get in there, and then it's basically gonna be a series of aspen upland islands, and then crossing black spruce, and that'll basically be the day. And then I will have the pleasure of finishing the final 2.5 miles or so on a hunter walking trail network. So it's just going to be this, probably, I bet it ends up being 9 to 10 miles of bushwhacking it today. But that final stretch will be nice, and you know, if it's getting close to dark, that's just fine. If you got a decent path to follow, not this crazy bushwhacking all over the place. Oh, I see it, this sneaky grouse. Just its head is sticking out. All right, I got lunch. Now we need another one for Petey. Oh, it's a nice big adult bird. So yesterday evening, it was that gray phase. Today, it's a beautiful brown. Oh, we just broke into this little opening. We'll be walking straight across this towards where the sun is. These give us nice little breaks when everything is soaked. You're in this thick alder, black spruce. It's slow going. But what I'm seeing more and more of is moose browse on this, especially the red osier dogwood. That's like candy to them. So most of the stuff that's in here has been browsed on, and we're seeing sign. So there's definitely a handful of moose hanging on back here in the middle of nowhere. Okay, well, we found this little water hole. Not much in it. So what we're gonna do is, and you can see just how dry it is. So since we found this, I think I'm gonna drink a bunch of water, filter some, and then we'll get back to it. So we're gonna be here for a little bit messing around. Oh well, looks like a predator got to that grouse before Pete and I could. All right, 2-hour update. It is 10 after 10, exactly 2 hours since I left camp. So we just came out of this aspen island behind us. Surprised we didn't find any rough grouse throughout here. There was one little island there, and then now we drop back into what's gonna feel like a never-ending tamarack and probably black spruce. There's an old logging trail I could make out on Google Earth. So that's gonna take us a pretty straight line distance down. Hopefully it's decent hiking. It's pretty wet right out here, but as we get back to where the trees are, hopefully it's decent and I don't have to put on those super soaked rubber boots. All right, I got a long way to go. I've only gone, we were moving slow back there. It was a struggle. We went 3.39 miles so far. So I'm averaging right at 1.7 mile an hour. Hopefully we can pick it up a little bit, because we're gonna have, once I turn off this old trail, it's gonna be another wicked bushwhack. All right, we better get going. The day's gonna go by before we know it. As you can see, there's hardly anything left of this trail. It is getting super overgrown. And the only way I'm able to do this trip is because of a couple of these extended old paths. Try getting through there with a pack. Wow. That would take forever. I got the shotgun back out and loaded it, and Pete's all excited again. He's going full throttle, and I have this gun out nonstop earlier. I had packed it back up on my bag while we were following this old trail, which is going to be pretty well grown in over the course of the next decade or so. But this trail continues on to black spruce forest. What I'm gonna do is just hug the north edge of it. It's gonna be alder and aspen. I almost punched in about 300 yards back there. That would have been through some thick tamarack, but we got our bushwhack number 2 of the day in front of us, and hopefully it's not too bad. I can see aspen for at least the next 200-300 yards. I have 1.6 miles to go to get to a little aspen island, and then I will continue from there south. So it's 10 after 11, exactly about 3 hours into it now. So we're slowly but surely making our way. I think we're at 1.7 mile an hour average on my Onyx, but that's gonna go down now. Hopefully, if it continues to be like this, it's gonna be amazing. It's just when you get into that black spruce and tamarack, that's tough. All right, well, Pete had just flushed a grouse and went back there in the tamarack, and I said, nah, I'm not gonna deal with it. And we were walking towards this aspen and started hearing the peep, 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 and flushed up. And we have enough grouse, so Pete gets some today. It's like another adult bird. Shot this one flying directly away from me. Gray phase. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank God. The end is almost in sight. My goal is to get to that Aspen Island. It was 4/10 of a mile across this. Sedge, tamarack, bog birch. It's wet. Oh my gosh. It has taken a very long time to get here. So we're gonna go get up into this island and find a good spot and have some lunch. Well, it's a 2 p.m. check-in. Just got lunch done, and pretty tough to beat fresh grouse. You got a little rice to go with it. I'm gonna have what I can have, and then PD is gonna get the rest. So we're going to enjoy this, and I have a good 5.5 miles yet to go. Pete and I made it back out to a mowed trail, so that's great because both of us are getting pretty played out. We are a little bit over 10 miles on the day right now, and some tougher hiking than I had anticipated. But we're going to be on trails for the rest of the way out. It's going to be probably 3.5 to 4 miles or so. So it's going to be another solid day. But hopefully we'll see a grouse. If not, let's see when we get back towards the truck. Well, that's a wrap for this trip, folks. That was excruciating. I just checked my phone tracking with Onyx. I did 14.16 miles yesterday and right at 14.6 miles today. So Did over 28 miles in 2 days. Pretty solid. I did not give myself much extra time here. It's right at 5:30, so the sun will be setting pretty soon and it'll be dark. So we kicked it into high gear and we got out of here. So hope you enjoyed the adventure. I know Pete and I had a good time. Got to see a lot of country that people probably haven't seen for decades, some of the stuff back there. So that was pretty neat, and probably one of my toughest trips yet for covering that amount of miles through the terrain. If it would have been mostly upland, aspen, those types of forests, it wouldn't have been so bad. But the second you get out in that tamarack, black spruce, bog, spongy, wet, your pace goes down significantly. Like just covering 10 or 20 yards is a lot. But I'm gonna head home, got a good dinner waiting on me, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Thanks for tuning in, folks.